What's good? What's good, YouTube? Before I go take a nap, I just wanted to do an intro so I can drop this video. We went to California last weekend. Yeah, last weekend. It was for a conference. And for the conference, it was a women's conference. Specifically a call for morning women. And it's my aunt's, well, my wife's aunt, but our aunt. It's her organization called Women's Pillar of Prayer. And so for the conference, she wanted me to speak, do a sermon. So here's the sermon. Before I do show you the sermon, I do want to tell you, like, we had went down there and, you get your carry-on or whatever. The carry-on went through Houston's check, TSA or whatever. We get down to California. We coming back the next day after the sermon. Bro, they stopped us. When they stopped us, we was there for like 15, 20 minutes. And then the dude came over there. He was like, I'm off. I don't even want to deal with it. I'm off. I'm like, bro, what's going on? I'm thinking it's like a candle or something in the bag. My wife went over there and she was like, what's going on? He was like, we found a magazine in your carry-on. I'm like, a magazine? I was thinking it was a children's book. I'm like, you could throw the children's book away. I don't really need it. He was like, no, a fully loaded magazine. I was like, what? What? Bro, I take my gun everywhere, but I took it out. The gun was in the car, and I'm pretty sure I took everything out, but I guess I didn't. And he was like, we take people to jail for this. Ooh. I'm like, oh my God, bro. I just preached a whole sermon yesterday. Now I'm about to go to jail. How this look? But they ended up letting me go. Glory to God. Glory be to God. They ended up letting me go, but I was just stressed out on the plane. It was stressful, but yeah, here's the video. I hope y'all enjoy this video. Like she said, 5 o'clock this morning, we came up in here and God told me these words. Obedience. I asked him last night, I was like, God, I want to see another miracle. Just show me a miracle. I walked up in here, pillow fire. Felt it, I'm sweating. It's cold in here, I'm sweating. And then he told me, son, Joshua, it's your time to shine. I was like, Joshua? Then he said, suddenly. Then he said, purpose.
Come this way. It's a mic. It's a short mic.
So, Auntie called me a little, like, maybe 2 months ago. When she called me, she was like, I want you to speak to the Women Pillar of Prayer. It's calling out for the wailing women. I'm like, why you calling me? I'm a man. Why you calling me to talk to women? I don't even know how to talk to myself sometimes. I don't know why you calling me. So I was like, God, I need you to talk to me. Since she want me to talk to women, I need you to talk to me. And I see right here, you said be vulnerable.
Come this way. Come from behind the thing.
Don't come from behind.
You said be vulnerable. That's all I wrote right here. So God told me, can we cry out for this generation? So about a month ago, I was running at night. I went for an 8-mile jog. And I run very frequently. I'm going for a run. Everything was going good according to my mind, I get to around mile 6. I'm like, God, something ain't right. It's dark. I ain't never ran this late. I don't know about this feeling. So I was like, Jesus, just let me make it home. I don't even know what's going on. I look, I open my eyes, I'm on the ground crying for my wife. My ankle twisted, I'm crying. She nowhere near me. I'm 2 miles from the house. I'm like, babe, you gotta come get me. T, come get me. I don't know what happened. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm running. She was like, where you at? I was like, I don't know. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just get up and walk it off. Then God at that moment, he said, how often do y'all feel brokenness and keep it moving?
Oh, yeah. Woo. Glory.
That's what Jeremiah 9 is all about. He was looking at our people, looking at his people, just fall from God. He was crying out for them. And it's sad because we know Jeremiah as the weeping prophet. Right. But he wasn't just sad, he was broken. Mm-hmm. He was broken for his people. He was grieving. And that's what's going on today, because we turning from God, but God is like, nah, we need y'all. Yeah. I need you. Yeah. Son, I need you. Daughter, I need you. Yeah. Who gonna tell my word? I need you. Yeah. I need you. So the question is, who is gonna cry out for this generation? Mm. Or are we just gonna walk off the pavement? Mm. Then God said, I see the brokenness before y'all do. Now, Jeremiah, he wasn't just looking for amateurs. He was looking for professionals of this level of grief. Right. The ones that know how to process and respond to the depth of what's happening. Mm-hmm. Not just surface level sadness. He was looking for the soul deep spiritual warfare. Same thing that we're going through. You know, I went to an interview the other day, and it was a forklift job. So he was like, you got experience forklift? I was like, yeah, I'm certified. I do this. I'm big dog. I don't know what you're talking about. I know how to do this. He was like, let me see. I was like, all right, let me show you. So he was like, can you work the controls? Like, yeah, I can work the controls. He was like, well, are you a professional? I was like, let me show you what I got. He was like, you know what? Get off. Like, why I gotta get off? He was like, I'm looking for professionals. Once I get 1, I get 5. Once I get 5, I get 10. Once I get 10, I get 20. He went on. I'm like, you know, I heard this before. God told Abraham, he was like, you know, I'm about to wipe this city out. Abraham was like, hey, God, what if it's 50 righteous people over there? What you gonna do to that city? He was like, I'll save it. He was like, what if it's 40, 45, 35, 30? All he needed was 10. He was gonna save the city. The same with Jeremiah. I'm like, you know what, Jeremiah and Abraham, they had it all put together. If we got just 1 professional, 2 professionals, 5 professionals, 10 professionals, they can save the rest of us.
Yeah.
That's what Jeremiah was here for. Like, who is gonna cry out for our brokenness? We gonna walk it off, or we gonna cry out? And then we think, oh, grief is a weakness. God, like, grief is your weapon. Grief is your weapon. He told me that. You know, like, I don't know about y'all, but I had a praying grandmother. And I remember hearing that song when I was a kid. And I'm like, I just don't get this song, man. And my grandmother, she ended up passing. She passed when I was like 12. But I still remember her voice because she taught me how to pray. And so she used to scream. She used to yell. And I'm like, Granny, look, you ain't got to do all that. If I can hear it, God shows to hear you if I can hear it. But at the time, it was a joke. But now I get it. She wasn't just praying. She was fighting. And not just for herself, but she was fighting for my generation. She was covering us. Those tears wasn't just emotions. They was weapons. And Jeremiah was telling the people for the next generation, like, go teach your daughters how to mourn. Because they need this. Once you put your mourning in God's hand, your grief in God's hand, He can move mountains. And it's something that we do when it's important. Like, I got a son. Y'all see my son. I was just holding him in the back. And when you care about something, you care about somebody, you want to teach them. You want to teach them. You want them to take on your legacy. I'm like, man, you know your dad. You know I do everything. So I'm about to teach you everything. I'm about to teach you how to hustle. Then my wife, she come along. I'm about to teach you how to save money. And I'm like, I'm going to teach you how to stay safe in the street because it's not safe for us. But that's what Jeremiah was telling them. Teach your kids, teach your daughters, because God needs to hear you. Because when you grieving, it's not a weakness, it's honesty, it's faith. You crying out to God and you saying, I can't do this, but you can. And He hears you. And God is calling us to stand in the gap. You know, what we seeing right now is the same thing that you just said. We seeing death. We seeing it's creeping up like a thief. It's climbing the windows. It's taking lives. It's destroying families. When my grandma died, we was like, man, what we gonna do? That's our granny. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm 12 years old. That was 28 years ago. I'm like, I'm still here. We thought it took our family, but it didn't take nothing. He's calling us to fill the gap because now it's violence. It's addiction. It's hopelessness. But God doesn't just leave us helpless. No. Through his call, he tells us to fill the gap for this generation. And we're filling the gap. Y'all know I'm a youngster, so filling the gap means standing on business. That's what we want to do. Standing on business. That's what we want to do. Abraham, he stood on business. Jeremiah, he stood on business for his people. And God is telling us the same thing. We in here, he like, y'all listening to me? Are you going to stand on business? Come on now. Now let's think about the last time we prayed for this generation or this family or who did it? Like, are we answering his call? Because I know he called, last time he called me, I'm like, God, I can't even pick up right now. I'm busy. And he like, all right, I'm going to show you what busy is.
Come on now.
I called him, he like, nah, I'm busy. I said, you busy, I'm busy. But then he made it to where he had to force his hand because he like, now you have to cry out for me. Your granny taught you how to cry. Come on, come show me. Come show me what she taught you. So, the reason why they cried is because they cared. Yes. You know, Jeremiah cared. Abraham, he believed. He like, you can't take my people, God. Like, my son over there. You can't take my son. I can't do that. But are we gonna cry for his mercy? Are we gonna stand the gap? Or are we just gonna walk off the brokenness? And I'm gonna tell y'all a story. So when I was 16, I was doing little mannish things, you know, and being a little boy, you know, smoking, doing all this stuff. I went with a group of people who was at a party, and it was pretty late. So once we left the party, we decided just to go to the park. So I'm like, we chilling. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know a park had curfew. So I'm like, why we sitting here? So we were sitting here. 3, 4, 5 cops pulled up. I'm like, oh my God, I got it on me. What I'm gonna do? So I put it in my shoe. When I put it in my shoe, my phone fell. Once I did like this, the windows was down, of course. The cop ran up to the window and he put the gun in my head. I was like, son, get out the car. He wasn't that calm, of course. But he was like, get out the car. I'm like, I ain't even do nothing, brother. You know, everything. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna tell my mom or how they gonna tell my mom I just got killed by a cop. I'm 16. This 24 years ago. So I'm like, how they gonna tell my mom I just got killed by a cop? So he was like, I'm gonna find what you put on the floor. And I'm like, my phone fell. My mama was calling. I was lying, of course. My mama was not calling. So he was like, okay. We was out there for about 45 minutes. They searching for everything. They still didn't find nothing. And I'm like, on the ground, I'm crying. I'm like, God, if you get me out of this, I don't know. If you get me out of this, I'm good. I'm gonna lean on you. He was like, all right, let me show you. Like I said, it was in my shoe. The cop took my shoe off. Both of my shoes. Did just this. Just like this. I'll demonstrate. Nothing came out. Everybody sitting there, they're like, bro, where you put it? I'm trying to whisper. I'm like, it's in my shoe. The cops ain't hear me, of course, but another cop came around. He had my phone. He on the phone. I'm like, who are you talking to? My mama had called me 12 times. I lied to the cop. Said my mama called. My mama called me 12 times. But it wasn't meant for me to answer that call. So this week, I challenge y'all. I want y'all to do 3 things. I want y'all to pray. When I pray, I always tell God, if my mind and my mouth not saying the right thing, listen to my heart. Yes. Because God, you know, and break my heart like, what's breaking your heart? Break my heart for it. I want you to speak. I want you to speak to those who need Jesus. Talk about the youth that need him. Talk about family. And you know who need him. Don't be, you know what I'm saying? Talk to him. Tell him you need him. Because they need you to get them there. Last, I want you to act. I want you to stand in that gap that God is trying to fill. Whether it's through prayer, serving, or just showing love to people that feel invisible. Because a lot of people do nowadays. And I just want to leave y'all with his promise. God hears his people. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Thank you.
Mind you, I'm not 40 years old. I was nervous the whole time. I did my math wrong while I was doing it because the math was off the dome. I was freestyling some of it, but most of it was written down. So I'm not 40, I'm 30. The math was just off, but everything else was correct. So if you enjoyed that, like, comment, subscribe, do everything, share it to somebody that you think it might help. And yeah, I want to do more videos like with sermons and stuff like that, but I just gotta see how I'm gonna do it. I gotta play it out in my head, and I gotta stop overthinking it, because that's literally what I'm doing. I'm overthinking everything. But like I said, I hope you enjoy. So like, comment, subscribe, and tune in to the next one.